A beautiful day to you, and thank you for joining us today on another episode of the Women Series program where we capture developments and stories that impact women. I am Ayomide Oguntoye. Today, we're not talking about stories that impact women alone, we're talking about stories that impact everybody. And we want to talk about technology and the law. And this is stemming from the conversations we've had in the last 3 weeks, where we talked about the emerging technologies and the benefits to our economy. We've looked at the decentralized finance, which seems to be like the body of everything, non-fungible tokens, and the amazing metaverse. Today, we want to talk about how the law comes to play with regards to regulations. Technology and the law could be in two ways. Now, you could see technology as an enabler or a tool to aid the legal activities, and the law as a checkmate or a regulation for technology. So, our focus today is on the latter. And we got some questions in the last episodes, and we'll be answering these questions today. I am not an expert, so I got someone to do that. And joining us today to do justice to these questions and talk about the interplay between the law and the emerging technology is Kelechi Achinonu. Kelechi is a regional head of HiiL Innovation Hub, West Africa, and the founder of TechLawyered. Hello, Kelechi. How are you doing this morning?
Hey, good morning. I'm doing good. How are you too?
Very well, thank you. Do I qualify as a how do you greet each other? What's the word again?
Learned colleague.
Learned colleague. Yeah, do I qualify as that?
Did you study law?
Oh wow, that's a shot anyway. But
Were
I'm
you called? Were you called to the bar, Nigerian
ready
bar?
for that this morning. But let's go into what we have to talk about today. That came out right.
Okay.
So let's so I want to talk about the major scare. I think that's a good part to start from. A major scare that is attributed to the digital asset space, which of course is the
Yeah.
intellectual property theft. Everyone is really scared about that. How does the law cater for issues such as this in our time?
Okay. So the Nigerian laws so far have not catered for that in any way yet. I know that I mean, there was when the CBN brought out some like regulation around trying to, protect people in quotes
Mm.
from blockchain theft or the crypto space and what was happening and the ban on crypto transactions. There was a lot of uproar around it and all. That was their own way of trying to help figure out whatever they wanted to. I mean, of course, when you don't understand something, you are scared of it. That's what we know. So it just felt like, because they did not understand how people were making money in that sense, what was happening in that space. It was like, yeah, there was like a ban on it. You're scared of it. Let's just put a ban till we understand it. Right. And that's like being what it is right now. So we do not it feels like the world is moving on or doing stuff, and Nigeria is playing catch up. We are playing catch up at a very slow pace, right? And then that's like being what it is. So I cannot speak to how but it doesn't mean that Nigeria is not trying or the regulators are not trying. It just means that it feels like whatever it is they think they're trying to do is not practically, or it's not even solving the problem, right? It's just there. It's like we have people wrongly advising in that sense, in quotes, and then we don't have people that sort of have the knowledge of the ecosystem itself churning out this regulation. So it just feels like we are in the north, they are in the south, and then there is no coherence to what's going on.
Now, so it means that you're saying that there is no interplay between the emerging technologies and the Nigerian law as of today.
With respect to the Web3 space, right, to blockchain, to cryptocurrency, NFT and the likes,
Yes.
no. No, we are still on the ground of, things around intellectual property with respect to my video. I posted my video here, my photos are here. So those kind of assets in that sense, that's like still where we are, but we are still trying to play catch up to things happening in the crypto space.
I mean, so if you're saying we're still trying to play catch up with what exactly it is that we should see in the Web3 space, so what exactly should we even be looking forward to? What are the things that should be the utmost focus in the Nigerian law?
Okay, so with respect to regulation in Nigeria or regulation anywhere, right? Regulations are supposed to help balance out or even out even out a level playing field in innovation, right? Not particularly try to kill what's going on, kill growth because we do not understand. It's like they have to not be the ones. I mean, tech is moving at a very fast pace. Everybody is actually, trying. Today something is happening, tomorrow something else happens, and you have in technology, and you have to do things better, be updated, update your knowledge base. That's what I would expect that our regulators do as well. The fact that they do not understand how things are happening, how we are exporting talent, how Nigerians or young Nigerians are making a lot of money working for companies out of the country, or how we are even working with cryptocurrency doesn't particularly mean that it's bad, right? It's not yahoo yahoo because you don't understand it.
Yeah.
So I think that regulators are supposed to update their knowledge base, right? Regulations are supposed to help put a level playing field to whatever is happening. You don't expect a startup that is just starting out. We are still trying to figure out product market fit, trying to figure out exactly if this product is going to sell, if Nigerians want to buy it, and yet I'm getting an wholesome amount of money to get a license to operate in that space.
Yeah.
So it's very discouraging, because that means I have to go look for funds. And we know the economy is right now. There's actually access to funding is a big challenge. So I think that, to answer the question, it's supposed to be that the regulators are to first understand the space. If they cannot, employ as consultants those that do know these things, and let them be the ones to advise on the next steps to take on how it should go. Regulations should encourage growth, not kill it.
Right. Regulation should encourage growth, not kill it. And if you do not know about these things, employ experts and then get this done. So let's move away or delve away from the Web3 space in general, and then in Web3 space and talk about tech space in general. I mean, we've had so many issues around the tech space, and more some of these issues are like data protection, criminal liability, cyberbullying and whatnot. Are there other legal issues written around the tech space that we should be aware of?
Okay, so right now at the base of this is data. Data has gone digital. So it means everything about me in that sense is online. That's what anybody is going to use for or against me, right? So other issues could be, for instance, where there was a time when Meta, formerly Facebook, was accused of trying to use people's data to coerce them, I think during the Trump elections, right, on who to vote for. That's also that's also a legal issue. There's also Ponzi schemes, right? Hacking, right? So those issues or things like that have become issues with respect to our data, because at the base of it is your data. So there are phishing attacks, botnets, iOS attacks. There's just every kind of thing that is targeted towards whatever part of you that you have shared online, or whatever part of you is accessible online. There are also software vulnerabilities as well. So where people develop software and then there is just some loophole somewhere. That is also an issue that can be leveraged, right, to place attacks on people or their data.
Could you speak more on criminal liability? Because I discovered that quite a number of people do not know about these things, and they go about doing several things on the social media space or the tech space in general. And I feel like quite a number of people are not aware of issues that could arise from criminal liability. So as a lawyer, could you speak more on the criminal liability?
Okay, so liabilities in this case. Now, when you mention social media, it will be a case of where, we have blogs that would have unverified information, but because they are chasing clout or they want, more attention or views, they will just put up anything. And then in that sense, the person that is the victim, right, can sue them and say, oh, this is like what you've written about me is not correct. I will sue you for this, sue you for that. So those are like liabilities. But in Nigeria right now, that's the extent to which people can go, right? When we come to fraud, for instance, right, where Ponzi schemes in that sense, that's also that's a fraudulent activity where there's like fraudulent misrepresentation. You don't have this, you're not this person, and you're coming to say you have this money or you have this thing, right? That's a liability. That's also something that someone can be liable for, right? And then can be sued for as well. But at the same time, now with the way the court system is, as much as we want to trust that, I'm a lawyer, and even speaking about this, there's also that span of time in which people are not able to get justice, which is something that we are really hoping that is fixed as soon as possible. So what happens is, instead of going to court, people just go out. So there's like the ADR, right, alternative dispute resolution, where people just decide to sit down and have conversations. You did this, I don't like it. This is what I'm asking for me to feel, for me to get justice. and there's a back and forth and negotiation, right? So more often than not, it's like people are now exploring, ADR. So if someone puts up a post that is not verifiable, that is not verified or not true, right? The person that is the victim in this case can go and say that I want you to put it down, or I'm going to sue you, right? And then there's now back and forth of no, I can't put it down, no, I can put it down, things like that. And then they ask for money and stuff like that. So I think that's like how it goes right now.
Yeah. So, but I mean, you've been able to explain all of these things in, in an awesome way. But I mean, I just want you to tell us what exactly the law says with regards to criminal liability. So, if you do this, what happens to you?
Okay, so that is based on the issue, the context of the issue at hand, right? So if you put out a content that can be seen as slanderous against somebody, right, that is not true, and then it's not that you didn't verify, stuff like that, right? There is a particular punishment. Now, depending on what you are asking for, right, and depending on what the court decides is fair and just. Do you understand? If somebody is defrauded, if somebody is there's a fraudulent misrepresentation and somebody gives out someone is scammed, that's the better word to use, right? There is, depending on what the context of the situation is, depending on how good you are able to put your case before the court and what the court sees to be fair and just as well, right? That is where, whatever judgment will be giving out in that context. So I cannot speak to exactly the law says this right now. Of course, there are laws, and then there are laws that say this is like the kind of punishment that the person will get, but it's also context based on whatever the situation is. So the fact that a case is similar to another doesn't necessarily mean that the judgment may be similar, depending on what the context of the cases are.
Okay, that's right. I wanted you to clarify on that, but that's good. But moving on, how would the Nigerian law interplay now and in the future? I was going to put you on the spot before and ask you if the Nigerian technology space was heavily regulated or under-regulated. But with all of our conversations today, I can easily deduce what the answer is. But going forward, how would the Nigerian law interplay now and in the future? I mean, with regards to the tech space.
Okay, so I think that it would still be based on what I said earlier. It would be good that I see that there is an effort, right? I mean, with respect to the rules by the Security Exchange Commission on digital assets, even though there was like something else around that from CBN to SEC. But I think that I can say that there is an effort. Now, it's possible that those efforts are not particularly what are answers to our prayers in that sense, but at least there is something coming up, and I would like to believe one way or the other that there are some good intentions behind this. So as much as possible, I think it would be best, or it'd be good if, like I said earlier, we get experts to do these things, right? And experts that hopefully are able to really understand, not people just post, because I mean in Nigeria right now, social media space, there is fake it till you make it, right? And then figure it out on the road. But those that are able to really, experts that really have the knowledge base of the industry and are able to advise in that sense. And then we now go through the research. I mean, recently there was a social media code by NITSA that was published as a draft.
Yeah.
And then thankfully, I don't know if that was like a front, but they asked for feedback. And I know Nigerians gave them feedback back to back, right? I'm hoping that they are able to take that in good stride and then do what they need to do. But, things like that, it'd be good if they get experts, right? And then they understand that the fact that that tech is moving at the fast pace doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad. Tech is everywhere, and it's the way we live, it's the way we are speaking right now, right? And we are leveraging technology. So it'd be good if they get experts to make the advice, and then it comes from a good place. So all the licensing that people are dishing out, all the regulations should not be a means of generating revenue or income or as a side hustle for the government or for the regulators, right? It should be that you are doing this because you are trying to regulate and balance out the field and balance out the innovation as against, because of course, there's no doubt that as much as technology is increasing, humans are also improving their knowledge. So scammers are getting smarter, right? Fraud is getting on the high side. So there's a need for regulations and regulators, yes. But at the same time, it should not be a thing for generating income. It should be a thing for finding where need be, right? People that would have done wrong, or balancing out the level playing field, and also ensuring that it's encouraging innovation. I'm happy for the Nigerian startup bill, and we are looking forward to what the impact and influence will be. And I believe that it's a step in the right direction.
Thank you very much. I mean, you gave a good summary to closing this conversation as to getting experts where need be. And of course, regulators should not see this as a means to generate income for themselves with regards to regulations. Thank you very much, Kelechi. It was great speaking with you.
Thank you.
And that'll be all for today's conversation. Thank you for joining me today. Do not forget to follow us on all our social media platforms showing on the screen. Visit our website as well to watch more of our videos and get updated about the financial markets. And until next week, thank you for watching.